Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tucker, this is Sporting Logically, and today is the start of yet another new series coming to the channel where I talk about the NBA draft every single Thursday. Today we're talking about 3 teams that are in position to draft perfect players to fit their needs after last week's draft lottery. Each of these guys should be available right around when the team's pick is, and their game would be a perfect fit, in my opinion, to fill an extremely important role on the roster. Let's get started. Number 1, Phoenix Suns and Luka Doncic. I know, I'm cheating by starting with the team with the number 1 overall pick, but I have good reason to, because this team and prospect are truly made for each other. Let's begin with the obvious fact that the Suns just hired Doncic's former coach with the Slovenian national team, whose name I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce so as not to insult anyone. But they had great recent success together in 2017, winning the Eurobasket title. The team made this hire before the draft lottery and thus before they knew they'd have the first overall pick. And although it doesn't guarantee that they'll draft Doncic, it makes too much sense for them not to. Apart from Doncic, the other favorite to be selected with the first overall pick is big man DeAndre Ayton out of Arizona. And though he's certainly a good player, I see Doncic as a much better fit in Phoenix. Him joining Devin Booker in the backcourt with the Suns would be a lethal combination of shooting, scoring, and playmaking that is essential in the pace and space era of the NBA. Though having a big man like Ayton would be nice, it isn't as crucial to becoming a great team. When you're picking a guy with the first overall pick, you want him to be as impactful as possible, and perimeter players are by far more impactful in the modern NBA than bigs. You can find solid rim protecting and rebounding bigs in free agency and later in the draft, but you can't find guards with great size and playmaking ability like Doncic as easily. Not to mention that the Suns have already spent some of their previous draft picks on some intriguing young bigs in Dragan Bender and Marcus Chris. And though both of them seem to be tweeners between the 4 and 5 spot, drafting Ayton would pretty much be an admission of giving up on both of them as starting caliber players. Lastly, as great as Devin Booker has been so far in his young career, he needs more help to take some of the offensive and playmaking load off of his shoulders. He's greatly improved from his time in college at making plays in ball screens and in pick and rolls, but having an extra ball handler in Doncic would allow him to play off the ball more and utilize his lethal shooting ability. Though neither of those guys project as a great NBA defender, having Josh Jackson around should allow them to check lesser offensive threats each game. The point is that from a needs perspective, Doncic is exactly what the Suns should be looking to add to their young core at this point, which makes him a perfect fit in Phoenix. Number 2, the Philadelphia 76ers and Mikal Bridges. As excited as many people, myself included, became over the success of the Sixers late in the season and early in the playoffs, it's pretty clear that they're still behind the Boston Celtics in the race for Eastern Conference supremacy in the post-LeBron era. The biggest reason for that is that they just don't have the same kind of depth on the wings to guard the multiple talented young players that Boston rolls out every game. Philly has 2 great young stars in Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and they're reportedly also looking to add more star power this summer, but they need high-level complementary players to give this core the best chance to succeed. Fortunately for them, their pick via the Lakers fell at the 10th spot, which is right around where the best 3-and-D prospect in the draft should be selected, Villanova's Mikal Bridges. A long athlete with great defensive ability that showed a lethal shooting stroke in college, the Sixers should be ecstatic if they have the chance to draft him this year. There have been a good amount of Kawhi Leonard comparisons thrown around online, but expecting Bridges to become a star of that caliber seems to be a bit too optimistic for me. He can, however, become a star in his role of guarding the other team's best perimeter player and spacing the floor for Simmons, Embiid, and whoever else they're able to reel in this summer. Versatility will be the name of the game moving forward for Philly as they try and take down Boston in the East, and having multiple wings like Bridges and Robert Covington that can defend and shoot at a high level is exactly what they'll need. If they can grab a few more guys like that, they could not only become one of the best defensive teams in the league, but also be much more equipped to eventually win the Eastern Conference and appear in their first NBA Finals since 2001. To be fair, Bridges would be a great fit on pretty much any team that already has established stars, but the Sixers are one of the teams that showed the biggest need for what he provides this season, especially in the postseason. Number 3, the LA Clippers and Colin Sexton. The LA Clippers actually have 2 back-to-back selections at the 12th and 13th spots in this draft, and I would expect them to select a perimeter playmaker with at least one of those. They do already have a solid group of guards, but with Avery Bradley set to hit free agency this summer and a payroll that's already near the top 10 in the league, they might not be willing to pay him what the market demands. A much cheaper option would be to draft one of the more exciting young players in this year's draft, Colin Sexton. Sexton's a great athlete with the ability to be a fantastic defender at the NBA level, and spending some time around Beverly should only enhance that ability. That and his knack for attacking the rim are two of the most immediately translatable NBA skills he brings to the table for a Clippers team that would like to once again contend for a playoff spot next season. Though his three-point shot will need some work, Sexton should be able to provide immediate contributions to the team. If it takes longer than expected for him to adjust to the NBA game, then as I said, the team has other options at the guard spot, so there wouldn't be any pressure on him to do it all himself as a rookie. On the other hand, if the team falls out of playoff contention early, or they just want to prioritize Sexton's development, they can trade away some of those other guards and push him as the face of the franchise right from the jump. Either way, this team and this prospect seem to be a perfect match in terms of both fit and environment. Number 4, the Utah Jazz and Donte DiVincenzo. A late riser in this NBA draft if there ever was one, Donte DiVincenzo out of Villanova has gone from off the radar during the college basketball season to a fringe first-round pick after the NCAA tournament to now a potential top 20 pick after a strong showing at the NBA Combine. For players like him with great versatility as a playmaker, shooter, and athlete, the Combine is the perfect place to boost their draft stock, which is exactly what DiVincenzo has managed to do. As of this video, it looks like he's projected to go somewhere between the 20th and 30th pick in the first round, and as a result of that, I expect him to sign with an agent and fully declare for the draft very soon. As for the team he's perfect for, the Utah Jazz are sitting at the 22nd pick and are in need of everything the guard out of Villanova can provide. After a pretty surprisingly successful season that saw the team reach the second round of the playoffs, it's now pretty clear that they have a very bright future moving forward. With Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles, and Rudy Gobert entrenched as the centerpieces of the team, filling out the rest of the roster with complementary players that can provide good minutes on both ends of the floor should be a priority. The Utah guard rotation was decimated by injuries in the playoffs, making a considerable lack of depth at the position even more obvious. Ricky Rubio was injured in round 1, and Dante Exum missed some time of his own in the playoffs as well. Bringing in DiVincenzo would provide the team the depth they need, while also creating much more roster flexibility for this offseason and the next. Exum is a restricted free agent this year, while Rubio and Burks' contracts are up in 2019. So finding a solid guard with great potential that can develop into a starter for next season is critical. He most likely won't ever become an all-star, but he should be able to replace a lot of what the team will be losing in their guard rotation over the next few off-seasons, and at a much cheaper price as well. The team does have some other needs on the wing and at the 4 spot should Derek Favors leave in free agency, but they should primarily be looking to get as much value as possible out of their late first-round selection. In terms of both fit and roster construction, drafting DiVincenzo would be a great choice for the Jazz should he fully declare for the draft. And that is going to be the end of the video, and I thank you all very much for watching. If you liked it, then leaving a like rating is a great way to let me know, and if you'd like to see more videos just like this, then be sure to subscribe to Sporting Logically for more content every single week. Thanks again, and I will see you all next time.